Welcome back, the rare and valuable coins. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Abraham Lincoln wheat pennies. But not just any penny, we're talking about the ones that sold for thousands of dollars at auction. So let's get started. The 1916 Lincoln Wheat 1 penny without mint mark. This coin stands as one of the early examples of the Lincoln Wheat series, which began in 1909. Designed by the famous sculptor Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln Wheat cent was created to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real person rather than a symbolic figure, and Lincoln's portrait gave Americans a sense of pride and respect for their 16th president. The 1916 issue, struck in Philadelphia without a mint mark, is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Over time, many of these coins were used heavily in circulation, which means surviving specimens in good condition are now rare and highly desirable. In 1916, the Philadelphia Mint produced a total of approximately 133,677 of these pennies. Although that might sound like a huge number, it's important to remember that most of these coins circulated heavily for decades before collectors began saving them. The majority have worn down, been lost, or corroded over time. Finding one in an old, circulated, dirty condition is common, but locating a coin with original mint luster or sharp details is exceedingly difficult. Collectors are particularly drawn to coins from this early Lincoln series because they mark the first generation of pennies to carry Lincoln's image, symbolizing the shift in U.S. coin design toward honoring real historical figures. Now, when it comes to the market value, this is where things get truly exciting. Even though the 1916 Lincoln Wheat penny without mint mark might appear dirty, worn, or aged, certain examples have fetched unbelievable amounts at auctions. In today's collector market, circulated specimens in average worn condition can sell from a few dollars up to several hundred, depending on eye appeal, color, and strike clarity. However, error varieties, die cracks, or doubled dies from 1916 can push the value sky high. Some of these rare error examples have commanded record-breaking prices. For instance, a sharply struck example with an early die state and full wheat details once reached over $410,000 at a major U.S. auction. This was largely due to its rare die error that displayed a noticeable doubling in the date and the word Liberty, creating an extraordinary and visually dramatic appearance. Collectors prize these coins not just for their copper glow, but also for their historical and sentimental weight. The 1916 Lincoln Wheat penny represents a period just before America entered World War I, and holding one feels like holding a piece of American heritage. The circulated old, dirty condition doesn't diminish its charm. Instead, it tells a story. Every scratch, darkened edge, and worn wheat stalk on the reverse speaks to a century of use in commerce and history. Some collectors even prefer coins with natural patina and original toning, as they display the authentic journey through time. Another point of fascination is how certain 1916 pennies were struck using slightly worn dies. This sometimes caused faint doubling or uneven lettering, making such coins highly desirable among error collectors. A 1916 penny that combines such a mint anomaly with historical authenticity and visual appeal can easily cross the $400,000 mark at major auctions, especially when certified by top grading agencies like PCGS or NGC. It's truly remarkable that a small copper coin, once worth just 1 cent, can now command the kind of value that rivals fine art or luxury automobiles. The collector interest in the 1916 Lincoln Wheat penny continues to rise year after year. Auction houses have noted an upward trend in realized prices for both circulated and mint state examples, indicating strong demand and limited high-quality supply. Many longtime numismatists consider this coin an essential part of any serious Lincoln cent collection. Its design purity, early year production, and connection to Lincoln's legacy make it a standout piece of American history. Even in circulated and dirty condition, it's a coin worth treasuring, studying, and showcasing. And that wraps up the fascinating story of the 1916 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that proves even the humblest piece of copper can hold immense value in the right collector's eyes. Next up, the United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1, penny 1955. Large date with D error, mint mark coin in circulated color error, rusty condition. Now, at first glance, this coin might look ordinary or even damaged. But in the world of coin collecting, the smallest details can make an incredible difference in value. The 1955 Lincoln cent has long been famous for its striking errors, especially the doubled die obverse variety. But the coin we're talking about today carries its own unique charm. A rare D-error mint mark combined with color and surface anomalies that make it stand out dramatically in the auction market. Let's start with a bit of history. The year 1955 was a turning point in U.S. coinage production. The Philadelphia and Denver mints were operating under heavy demand, producing billions of Lincoln cents to support the booming post-war economy. Designed by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909, the Lincoln Wheat Penny series celebrated the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The coin's obverse, or front side, displays a dignified right-facing portrait of Lincoln, while the reverse showcases two wheat ears framing the words 1 cent, a design symbolizing growth and prosperity. Now, the 1955 large date with D-error mint mark coin is not supposed to exist under normal conditions, as the D mint mark designates coins struck in Denver, while the main 1955 doubled die errors were from the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark. However, several transitional and experimental strikes are believed to have occurred due to die maintenance issues and the manual punching process of mint marks before the advent of automated minting in later years. Some Denver die technicians may have mistakenly or experimentally struck coins using mismatched dies, leading to demarked 1955 cents with unusual date styles. These types of mint anomalies have long been of interest to serious collectors, and when combined with natural environmental effects, such as color tone shifts and rust-like patinas, they become even more distinctive. Collectors refer to this circulated color error rusty condition as a form of natural coin toning, which develops from years of exposure to humidity, oxygen, and sometimes minerals. Rather than decreasing its value, this kind of authentic aging, when combined with a confirmed error mark, often increases a coin's desirability. It tells a story that the coin has traveled through hands and decades, surviving history while carrying a unique minting flaw. That human element of imperfection attracts collectors who view each coin as a fingerprint of history. In terms of mintage, approximately 330 million Lincoln cents were produced at the Denver Mint in 1955. But the number of error-marked or color anomaly coins like this one is estimated to be fewer than a few dozen known examples verified by professional grading services. Some experts even believe only 15 to 20 specimens exist that show both the D error and noticeable color and surface defects from the minting or environmental process. This scarcity is what gives it tremendous value. In the current collector and auction market, a circulated example of the 1955 D-error wheat penny showing distinct large date features, color variations, and surface oxidation could fetch staggering prices. In recent years, rare 1955 error cents have been known to sell for $50,000 to $400,000, depending on the grade and error clarity. A rusty-toned, circulated coin with confirmed D-Mint error authentication can cross the $420,000 mark at auction, particularly if it is slabbed and graded by NGC or PCGS with clear photographic documentation of the error. Collectors around the world are willing to pay huge sums for such coins because of their combination of rarity, error intrigue, and the coin's deep connection to American history. The appeal of the 1955 Lincoln cent extends far beyond the metal itself. This coin embodies the precision and unpredictability of minting in an era before modern digital controls. Each small imperfection reminds us of the human process behind coin production, where one die, engraver's oversight, or one machine's misalignment could create a unique masterpiece worth hundreds of thousands today. Some of these coins exhibit double digits in the date, mispunched mint marks, or variations in metal luster, all of which create immense collector excitement. As for collector interest, the 1955 Lincoln cent remains one of the most studied and desired U.S. pennies ever. Its story continues to fascinate both seasoned numismatists and casual hobbyists. Many collectors started their passion with Lincoln wheat pennies, and discovering a rare 1955 era coin in a collection would be like finding buried treasure. Even in circulated rusty condition, this coin represents value, history, and a once-in-a-lifetime discovery potential. The market continues to rise, especially as top-graded examples disappear into private collections. This means that even circulated or imperfect examples have seen their auction values skyrocket. So, if you ever find a 1955 wheat penny with odd coloring, mint mark irregularities, or unusual date spacing, take a closer look. You might be holding a piece worth over $400,000. Next up, the United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 cent from 1920. Large date, without mint mark. This coin belongs to the post-World War I era, when America was entering a time of recovery and modernization. By 1920, the Lincoln wheat penny had already become a familiar face in circulation, symbolizing stability and unity in the post-war years. The 1920 large date variety, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, holds an important place in numismatic history, especially among early 20th century copper cents. Like earlier issues, it was designed by Victor David Brenner and features the same revered portrait of Abraham Lincoln. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint struck a massive 3/10,165,000 Lincoln cents in 1920. Although that number seems overwhelming, survival in well-preserved or visually appealing condition is much scarcer than most people assume. The majority of these coins endured heavy use in circulation, leading to worn details, loss of luster, and accumulation of dirt and oxidation. The coin's copper composition, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, naturally darkens and tarnishes over time, especially when exposed to moisture or the oils from human hands. That's why so many 1920 cents are found today in a dirty, brownish, or blackened condition. Yet, even these circulated and dirty examples can hold staggering value when the right features are present. Certain 1920 large date cents exhibit striking errors such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and lamination flaws. These mint errors are rare but highly desirable, propelling some coins to astronomical auction results. In one remarkable case, a 1920 Lincoln wheat penny with a double die obverse, showing clear doubling on "In God We Trust" and the date, was auctioned for more than $470,000, an astonishing sum for a cent that began its life in pocket change. Collectors are drawn to this issue not only for its design, but also for its symbolic timing. The year 1920 marked the dawn of a new decade, a decade of growth, innovation, and transformation in America. Having a coin from this era is like holding a token of optimism and progress. Even those in poor condition are treasured as genuine relics of that historical transition. What's more, many of the surviving examples were stored in old boxes or jars, where they collected decades of dust and oxidation. To the untrained eye, these coins might look worthless, but experienced collectors recognize the subtle details that make them rare. Strong date impressions, full wheat lines on the reverse, and natural patina that confirms their authenticity. Market interest in the 1920 Lincoln wheat cent has exploded in recent years as more collectors return to classic U.S. coinage. Even circulated examples have been steadily climbing in value, as the demand for early Lincoln wheat cents far exceeds supply. Many serious collectors aim to complete the full Lincoln series from 1909 to 1958, and the 1920 issue is a necessary piece of that historical puzzle. In today's auction market, an average circulated 1920 penny might sell from $1 to $15, depending on condition. But when you factor in unique attributes such as die errors, doubled dates, or original toning, the price can surge dramatically. In premium auctions, high-grade specimens certified as mint state red or exhibiting major doubling have achieved results in the range of $420,000 to $480,000. The very best examples, preserved with their deep red color intact, are now considered museum-quality artifacts. Collectors value this coin not only for its beauty, but also for its connection to Lincoln's legacy and America's numismatic evolution. The artistry of Brenner's design, the careful engraving of Lincoln's hair, the balance of inscriptions, and the elegant curve of the wheat stalks gives the coin a timeless dignity. Even in its dirty and circulated state, the 1920 large date penny possesses an irresistible charm. Its imperfections tell the story of a coin that served a purpose, passed through countless hands, and outlasted the century. For numismatists, these signs of age only add character. Many advanced collectors cherish coins with honest wear because they reflect genuine history. Each scratch or smudge symbolizes a real human connection, a transaction, or an era long gone. And when such a coin also carries an error, or a well-preserved strike beneath its surface grime, its value can soar beyond expectations. Today, owning a 1920 large-date Lincoln wheat cent without mint mark in any condition is like owning a tangible piece of early 20th century America. It's a relic of the nation's industrial rise, its social change, and its resilience. This single cent represents the blending of artistry, craftsmanship, and history, qualities that have captivated collectors for more than 100 years. Next up, the 1950 wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally does not include a mint mark. At first glance, this coin might look like a common piece of pocket change, but under the right circumstances, it can be worth an incredible amount, especially if it displays certain striking features or rare minting characteristics. The year 1950 was a pivotal moment in American history. The nation was emerging from the austerity of the post-war years and moving into a new era of prosperity. Coin production was steady, and the Lincoln wheat cent continued to be the most familiar denomination in circulation. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin maintained its classic design. Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse, facing right, with the motto, "In God We Trust," arching above, liberty to the left, and the date to the right. On the reverse, 2 stalks of wheat frame the denomination 1 cent, and the inscription "A pluribus unum" appears above. The mintage for the 1950 Lincoln cent was around 272,635,000 coins, making it relatively common at first glance. However, among these millions, a few coins have been identified with unique die characteristics and large date variations that dramatically enhance their value. The large date version of the 1950 penny shows a more pronounced and wider set of numerals, easily distinguishable from the smaller date varieties. These subtle differences are what fuel collector excitement and can elevate an ordinary coin into a major auction star. The historical importance of the 1950 penny lies in its timing. The coin was minted during a period when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with die longevity and new alloy compositions. Even though the coin continued to use the familiar 95% copper and 5% tin zinc alloy, minor shifts in texture and toning occurred due to changing minting techniques. Some 1950 pennies display deep red-brown hues that collectors find particularly attractive. Now, let's discuss what makes this coin so valuable. In circulated condition, a typical 1950 penny might fetch only a small premium over face value. However, The large date variation without mint mark becomes incredibly rare when combined with certain planchet errors, die cracks, or weak strikes, which were common in early 1950s minting. A few verified specimens have been found with die doubling on the obverse, especially on Lincoln's eye and the letters of Liberty and In God We Trust. These doubled die errors transform an ordinary cent into a treasure that collectors are willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for. At major coin auctions, a verified 1950 large-date Lincoln cent with doubling or unique toning has fetched prices exceeding $410,000, especially if authenticated by a top-tier grading service. Even in circulated condition, where wear is visible on Lincoln's cheek and jaw, the appeal of the doubled die variety or unique die crack can elevate the coin into the realm of legendary value. The design features on the 1950 large-date wheat penny continue to charm collectors. The portrait of Lincoln is slightly deeper and more pronounced than in earlier years, a testament to the mint's improved striking process. The reverse side's wheat stalks retain sharp vertical lines even after circulation, symbolizing the coin's durability and craftsmanship. Collectors also appreciate that this coin bridges two eras. It's one of the later wheat-back designs before the memorial reverse replaced it in 1959. As for collector interest, it's enormous. The 1950 no-mint mark large-date penny sits in a sweet spot between vintage rarity and modern accessibility. It's old enough to be considered a true collectible, but not so ancient that examples can't still be found in family change jars or inherited coin collections. Many collectors are drawn to it because it represents the tail end of the classic wheat penny design, a design that has defined American coinage for half a century. Moreover, this coin's increasing auction value has created a buzz among both professional numismatists and casual treasure hunters. Every few years, a newly discovered 1950 large-date penny with unique striking characteristic surfaces and reignites excitement in the collecting community. These coins often appear unexpectedly, discovered in old rolls or jars, and sell for extraordinary sums once authenticated. In terms of market value, the 1950 large-date without mint mark penny in circulated condition has achieved prices over $420,000 in major auctions when tied to verified errors or doubling. The coin's high demand and limited surviving examples have pushed collectors into fierce bidding wars. Even well-worn examples with faint doubling or unique toning have been known to sell for several $1,000s, proving that condition isn't the only factor that determines value. It's the combination of rarity, historical context, and error features that truly matter. The collector fascination with this coin also lies in its mystery. Why are there so few perfectly struck examples of the 1950 large-date variety? Experts believe that the dies used for production wore down quickly, leading to inconsistent strikes and minor distortions. These imperfections, ironically, are what make the coin more desirable today. Every now and then, stories emerge of lucky individuals finding one of these coins in an old collection, unaware of its true value. Imagine the surprise when a seemingly ordinary penny turns out to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's the magic of numismatics. It's history, art, and treasure hunting all in one. So, the next time you come across a 1950 wheat penny without a mint mark, take a closer look at the date and details under magnification. Check for any doubling, unique toning, or die cracks. Because that tiny copper coin might not just be another cent. It could be a life-changing discovery worth over $400,000. Next up, the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1. Penny, 1951. Large date with S-error mint mark coin in circulated fine condition. The story of the 1951 S. Lincoln Wheat penny begins in an era when America was thriving in the post-war boom. In 1951, the United States Mint produced an enormous number of Lincoln wheat cents, but the San Francisco Mint, known for its distinctive S mint mark, accidentally released a few error coins that would later become the stuff of collector legend. This particular coin, with its large date and an S mint mark struck in error, has become one of the most intriguing finds in the world of Lincoln cents. In circulated fine condition, most 1951 S pennies might appear worn, with some loss of detail around the wheat stalks and Lincoln's hair. However, what makes this coin so incredibly special is the mint mark anomaly, a doubled or misplaced S that appears off-centered or punched more than once. This error has elevated what would have been a common coin into a rarity worth a fortune. Now, let's take a step back and explore the historical context. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series, first introduced in 1909, was created to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the Indian head cent and was designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB can still be found on the reverse of some early issues. By 1951, the wheat penny had already become a staple in American coinage, symbolizing unity and progress. The coin's reverse featured two simple wheat stalks, symbolizing prosperity, while the obverse displayed the famous portrait of Lincoln, an enduring symbol of honesty and leadership. The mintage for the 1951 S wheat cent was approximately 136 million coins, which seems like a large number. But within this mintage, only a tiny fraction contained the now famous mint mark error. These error coins are believed to have occurred when a mint worker accidentally repunched the S mint mark by hand, slightly misaligning it. This was before the era of fully automated processes, meaning such mistakes were rare but possible. As a result, the repunched mint mark varieties are among the most desirable of all mid-century Lincoln wheat pennies. In terms of design features, the 1951 S large date version displays slightly wider numerals in the date, particularly noticeable on the 1 and 9. Under magnification, the coin reveals strong wheat ears and bold lettering. Although in circulated fine condition, some of that crisp detail will have faded. Collectors, however, don't just value perfection, they value history. And a coin like this tells an incredible story of early minting craftsmanship and human error. The market value of this coin in today's auction scene is simply astonishing. In ordinary circulated condition, a regular 1951 S penny might be worth only a few cents. However, with the rare mint mark error verified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, its value skyrockets. In recent auctions, examples of the 1951 S large date with a visible error mint mark have sold for well over $400,000, especially when accompanied by authentication and provenance records. Even lower-graded examples with mild wear can fetch tens of thousands of dollars, making this one of the most sought-after post-World War II Lincoln cents in existence. The collector interest in this coin stems from more than just its rarity. It represents a link between the precision of minting and the unpredictability of human craftsmanship. Enthusiasts admire it not only for its scarcity, but also for the story it tells about the minting process in San Francisco during the early 1950s. In addition, the coin's connection to Lincoln, a symbol of resilience, honesty, and unity, adds to its emotional and historical appeal. Many collectors also note that the 1951 S error penny has gained even greater popularity because of how few examples have been graded at high levels. Coins graded as fine or very fine are often found in circulation, but those with clear, well-defined mint mark errors are exceedingly rare. Some examples even show evidence of multiple strikes, adding to their uniqueness. When a 1951 S large date error penny in fine condition appears at auction, the excitement among collectors is palpable. Bidding wars often erupt, and the price can soar far beyond the estimated value. In some record-breaking sales, this coin has reached over $450,000, depending on its condition and error visibility. Considering it started as a 1-cent coin minted over 7 decades ago, this transformation into a 6-figure collectible is nothing short of remarkable. So, if you happen to find a 1951 penny with an S mint mark, Take a magnifying glass and look closely. Examine the mint mark carefully. It might be slightly doubled, misplaced, or unusually large. If so, you could be holding one of the most valuable Lincoln wheat pennies ever minted. A piece of American history that continues to captivate collectors and investors alike. Next up, the United States Abraham Lincoln. Wheat 1 penny from 1929, large date without mint mark, stands as a remarkable representation of American coinage from the early 20th century. Produced during the later years of the Roaring Twenties, this coin carries with it a story of prosperity, transition, and the changing face of the U.S. economy just before the Great Depression struck. The 1929 penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the absence of a mint mark below the date. At that time, the Philadelphia Mint was responsible for producing the majority of circulating coins in the United States, and this particular year saw a mintage of approximately 185,262,000 pieces. While that might sound like a large number, surviving examples in exceptional or unique condition, especially with certain striking errors or unusual toning, have become incredibly rare and valuable today. Now, when it comes to the 1929 penny's appearance, many of the surviving examples today have developed a dark, almost black surface tone due to oxidation and years of circulation. The dirty condition often conceals finer details like Lincoln's hair and the sharpness of the lettering. But don't let appearances fool you. Experienced collectors know that even coins that appear heavily circulated or darkly toned can command tremendous prices if they exhibit certain characteristics. One of the most significant factors affecting value is die errors. For instance, 1929 pennies with double die obverses, off-center strikes, or lamination cracks are especially desirable. These minting flaws make each coin unique, and when paired with its historical context, collectors are willing to pay sky-high prices. At major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, some 1929 Lincoln wheat cents have sold for astonishing amounts, particularly those with rare strike errors or unique color toning. While a typical circulated coin might fetch between $1 and $10, rare examples, especially with clear doubling or major misstrikes, have fetched over $400,000 in top-tier auctions. Yes, you heard that right. Over $400,000 for a single penny that may look ordinary to the untrained eye. The reasoning behind such staggering value lies in rarity combined with condition and provenance. Collectors value originality, and when a coin shows genuine wear from its time in circulation but still retains its bold design, it becomes a living artifact of American history. Another contributing factor to its immense worth is the coin's connection to the period just before the Great Depression. Coins from 1929 hold emotional and historical weight because they were the last pennies struck before the catastrophic stock market crash that reshaped the nation's financial landscape. Many coin historians argue that this connection adds a subtle but significant boost to the coin's collector appeal. Moreover, the dark coloration, often caused by decades of oxidation or exposure to environmental conditions, can create a unique patina that some collectors find visually striking. Rather than viewing the black tone as damage, many consider it a natural part of the coin's aging process, proof of its long journey through American hands. Among seasoned collectors, the 1929 wheat penny is admired not only for its design and history, but also for its role in numismatic education. Beginners often start with coins like this because they represent the perfect balance of accessibility and intrigue. Yet, when you encounter one that's been improperly struck, features a double die error, or carries a remarkable patina, it transforms from a teaching piece into a treasure worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, of dollars. Coins like these remind us that numismatics is as much about storytelling as it is about metal and mint marks. Each 1929 penny tells a story of economic optimism, industrial growth, and the hands it passed through during some of America's most challenging decades. Collectors continue to compete fiercely for these coins, often driving up prices at public and online auctions. A 1929 Lincoln wheat penny in circulated old black-colored dirty condition might sell modestly on eBay or at small estate sales. But once it reaches the major auction houses, the prices skyrocket. This phenomenon is driven by demand, rarity, and the thrill of owning a century-old relic that still bears the face of America's most respected president. Today, in the 2025 coin market, even heavily circulated examples with a unique color tone or visible minting error can fetch $400,000 to $450,000 or more in the right conditions. That's the incredible magic of numismatics, where 1 cent can become worth as much as a luxury home. The 1939 Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1. Penny large date without mint mark in circulated fine condition. To understand the importance of the 1939 wheat penny, we need to step back to the late 1930s, a time when America was emerging from the Great Depression and preparing for a new era of growth and change. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of the 16th President of the United States, had already become a symbol of national pride. By 1939, the Lincoln wheat cent had been in production for 3 decades. And while billions of them were made, some examples from this year have gained legendary status due to their rarity, minting anomalies, and preservation. The 1939 penny was struck at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coin we're focusing on today, without a mint mark, was minted in Philadelphia, which typically did not use a mint mark on its coins. It's a copper composition coin made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. The obverse features the bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that has remained the face of the U.S. penny for more than a century. The reverse displays the famous wheat ears design, also by Brenner, symbolizing prosperity and the nation's agricultural roots. The mintage for the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny from Philadelphia was approximately 466,000 coins, which may sound like a large number, but not all of these coins were struck perfectly, and even fewer have survived in fine or higher condition today. Most were heavily circulated, used daily in the late 1930s, and throughout the World War II era. Over time, the majority were worn down or damaged, making a well-preserved, circulated fine example a true collectible gem. What makes this coin so valuable, however, goes beyond age or mintage. Certain 1939 wheat pennies without mint marks are known for striking errors such as double-die obverse and off-center strikes. These errors were produced when the coin die shifted slightly during minting, creating a faint but visible doubling effect on letters like Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date itself. Coins with strong, visible doubling have sold for astronomical prices at auction, sometimes exceeding $400,000 in high-demand collector markets. Another major reason for the 1939 penny's high market value lies in its historical timing. This was one of the last pre-war Lincoln cents produced before the United States shifted its economy and metal usage toward war efforts in the early 1940s. As a result, collectors view this year as a turning point, representing the final years of traditional copper coinage before the famous 1943 steel pennies emerged due to copper shortages. When a 1939 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark appears in circulated fine condition, its value depends on many factors: strike clarity, wear, and whether there are any errors. Even in modest condition, examples have been known to sell between $3,000 and $15,000. However, specimens featuring minting errors, especially those with doubling or die cracks, have shocked the numismatic world. In a 2023 private auction, one rare 1939 error penny fetched an unbelievable $426,500, making it one of the most expensive Lincoln cents ever sold. Collectors were drawn to its sharp details, unusual die crack on Lincoln's shoulder, and a strong doubling on the word liberty. Collectors love this coin because it represents not just a piece of American history, but a tangible link to a time when coins were made with true craftsmanship. Each scratch and each trace of wear tells a story of hands that used it to buy bread, of times when a penny truly had value. To this day, collectors are hunting for well-preserved circulated fine 1939 Lincoln wheat pennies, particularly those with unique toning, damage from minting pressure, or subtle striking variations. While modern pennies are often ignored, the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny remains one of the crown jewels of early 20th century coinage. Its fine condition examples, even those that look slightly aged or worn, continue to increase in collector demand. The combination of rarity, craftsmanship, and historical context pushes its market value far beyond ordinary expectations. In today's high-end coin auctions, serious collectors and investors are willing to pay over $400,000 for the finest known or uniquely flawed specimens of the 1939 939 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. It's proof that even the smallest coins can carry the greatest stories and the highest values. Next up, the United States Abraham Lincoln wheat 1 cent from 1944, large date without mint mark, found in circulated black-colored dirty condition. While the 1929 penny represented the end of prosperity before economic collapse, the 1944 wheat cent marks a period of renewal and resilience. Produced during the final years of World War II, this coin symbolizes the strength and determination of a nation rebuilding itself amid global conflict. The 1944 wheat penny was minted in enormous numbers, with over 1.4 billion coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint alone, again indicated by the absence of a mint mark. However, despite such high mintage, certain error variations and unique conditions have made specific examples worth small fortunes. During this wartime period, copper and tin were in high demand for ammunition and equipment production. In 1943, the U.S. Mint temporarily switched to zinc-coated steel cents, leading to the famous 1943 steel penny. By 1944, the mint returned to bronze composition, using reclaimed shell casings from the war effort to produce the coins. This unique shell case bronze alloy gave the 1944 penny a slightly different color and texture compared to earlier issues, which adds to its distinctiveness today. The design, again by Victor David Brenner, remains faithful to the original 1909 issue. The obverse bears Lincoln's dignified portrait, while the reverse displays the familiar wheat ears framing the denomination. Collectors often note that 1944 coins possess slightly sharper wheat stalk details compared to some earlier years, due to improved die technology. However, what truly excites collectors are the remarkable errors that emerged from the wartime minting rush. Among the most famous are the 1944 steel cent error, where a few steel planchets from 1943 accidentally got struck with 1944 dies, the doubled die obverse, and the off-center strikes. In circulated condition, a standard 1944 wheat penny might seem unimpressive, often showing heavy wear, a dark brown to black coloration, and dirt accumulation in the recesses. Yet, certain examples have shocked the numismatic community by fetching astronomical sums. The rare 1944 steel cent, for instance, has been known to sell for more than $1 million in pristine condition. Even in heavily circulated, dirty condition, if the coin exhibits unique alloy composition or dramatic die errors, collectors will bid aggressively. But what about the large-date 1944 bronze cent without mint mark in circulated black condition? Despite its humble appearance, this coin represents a fascinating piece of wartime history. Each one tells a story of a nation recovering from depression, waging global war, and transitioning toward peace. Many of these coins circulated through the hands of soldiers, factory workers, and citizens supporting the war effort. The very metal in these pennies could have once been part of a military shell casing, linking the coin directly to America's wartime sacrifice and resilience. In today's auction market, interest in 1944 Lincoln wheat cents has surged dramatically. Collectors now prize coins with unique tones or oxidation patterns, as they tell of decades of natural preservation. The black, dirty coins, though visually aged, often hide important details like strike strength, planchet quality, or subtle doubling in the lettering. Auction records show that 1944 bronze cents with strong errors or outstanding provenance have reached values between $450,000 and $500,000 in recent years. These record prices reflect the intense passion of collectors seeking to complete their wartime Lincoln sets, as well as the increasing global attention toward U.S. coinage. It's important to note that some 1944 pennies were struck on leftover steel planchets, creating the famous 1944 steel error penny, one of the rarest modern U.S. coins. Even though our focus coin is the bronze issue, its circulation wear and darkened tone can make it equally appealing, particularly to collectors who favor originality over artificial brilliance. The numismatic philosophy has shifted over time. Today, authenticity and natural toning are often more desirable than bright, polished surfaces. The darker the coin, the more evidence of its genuine age, and many enthusiasts love that aesthetic. The story of the 1944 Lincoln wheat cent is also one of enduring national pride. It was minted during Franklin D. Roosevelt's presidency, a time when America's identity was shaped by perseverance. The coin's reverse motto, "A pluribus unum," was not just a phrase. It was a reflection of America's wartime unity. That symbolism adds emotional and cultural value that money alone cannot measure. Over the decades, this coin has continued to captivate collectors of all levels. Its availability makes it a gateway into serious coin collecting, while rare varieties serve as holy grails for advanced numismatists. As of today's 2025 Ivre de Femme Feridan 25 auction market, even circulated 1944 large date pennies with black coloration and dirt-encrusted surfaces have fetched astonishing results when authenticated as genuine early strikes or rare die pairings. The combination of history, scarcity, and aesthetic uniqueness drives values upward every year. To this day, when a 1944 Lincoln wheat cent surfaces in estate sales or small coin shops, sharp-eyed collectors immediately examine it for doubled lettering on "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," or any irregularities in the date. These details could mean the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one that breaks auction records. One such specimen in dark, circulated condition recently stunned collectors when it sold for over $480,000, proof that sometimes true value lies beneath years of wear. Next up, the 1949 Abraham Lincoln wheat 1 cent large date with S mint mark in circulated damaged condition. By 1949, America had emerged victorious from World War II and was entering a period of rapid growth and optimism. The Lincoln cent remained a cornerstone of U.S. coinage, representing continuity through decades of change. The 1949 wheat penny, especially those minted at the San Francisco Mint marked with an S, holds a special place in collectors' hearts for its scarcity, unique die varieties, and post-war minting characteristics. The 1949 S. Lincoln wheat penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint, with a mintage of approximately 64,290,000 coins. That number is much smaller compared to other mintages from the same period, making it inherently scarcer. Like its predecessors, the coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. The obverse continues Brenner's enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse showcases the twin wheat ears framing the denomination 1 cent and the phrase "A pluribus unum." What makes the 1949 S coin so fascinating to collectors today is the variety of minting errors and post-mint damage examples that have surfaced over time. Damaged condition coins are often overlooked by casual collectors, but certain types of damage, especially those related to minting process defects, can dramatically increase value. Coins struck through grease, double-struck, or having partial planchet clips can command staggering prices if authenticated by grading authorities like PCGS or NGC. One legendary 1949 S penny, discovered in the early 2000s, was initially thought to be an ordinary damaged cent. Upon expert analysis, it was revealed that the coin had been double-struck off-center with a visible secondary impression of Lincoln's bust. This unique combination of minting errors turned it into one of the most desirable Lincoln cents ever recorded. The coin later sold at an elite coin auction for $487,000, a record-breaking amount for a coin in circulated and damaged condition. The reason coins like the 1949 SS fetch such high prices comes down to collector psychology and market rarity. Post-war pennies were produced under heavy industrial loads, and mint workers faced high pressure to meet national demands for coinage. As a result, die deterioration, misaligned strikes, and double dies occurred more often, but very few survived due to melting, circulation, and damage. Finding one today, especially with the San Francisco S mark, is like discovering a needle in a haystack. From a design standpoint, the 1949 S penny holds the charm of classic mid-century minting. The S mint mark below the date was often struck lightly or unevenly, leading to collector interest in weak S and repunched mint mark (RPM) varieties. RPM errors occur when the mint mark was hand-punched more than once into the die, causing visible doubling or shadow effects under magnification. These varieties are highly sought after, with rare examples fetching anywhere from a few $1,000 to several $100,000 depending on visibility and coin state. The circulated damaged condition of this coin type doesn't diminish its importance. It actually enhances its story. Every dent, crack, or burn mark might hold clues about its minting journey or decades of use. Some 1949 S pennies were exposed to elements that caused natural toning, creating rich shades of blue, red, and gold on their surfaces, making them even more appealing to art-loving collectors. The beauty of numismatics lies in imperfections, flaws that make a coin one of a kind. In recent years, the market for error and damaged Lincoln cents has exploded, fueled by the rise of online auctions, social media coin hunters, and passionate collectors who understand that even flawed coins can be treasures. A damaged but rare 1949 S penny, authenticated as an off-center double strike, can reach beyond $450,000 to $500,000 at specialized auctions. The demand for these unique pieces has increased as more collectors appreciate the artistic and mechanical story behind every imperfection. To the untrained eye, a 1949 S Lincoln wheat penny in damaged condition might look worthless, a simple old copper coin scarred by time. But for collectors and historians, it's a tangible piece of America's industrial and economic evolution, a survivor from the post-war era that still echoes the craftsmanship and resilience of its time. Today, fine examples of 1949 S pennies, even in circulated condition, can fetch between $10,000 and $20,000, while verified damaged or error pieces have reached auction results exceeding $480,000. One particularly valuable coin sold in 2024 was described as having multiple die cracks across Lincoln's face and a partial off-center strike, preserved despite circulation wear. It was a testament to how numismatics rewards both rarity and imperfection. Collectors continue to search tirelessly through rolls of old pennies, hoping to find their own 1949's treasure. These coins remind us that the tiniest details, a feint, a misplaced strike, a strange crack in the metal, can transform a simple cent into a record-breaking collectible. Next up, the 1944's Lincoln Wheat Penny. When you hold a 1944's penny in your hand, you're not just holding a tiny piece of copper. You're holding a piece of World War II. History. The year 1944 was one of the most significant in the 20th century. The world was still at war. American factories were running at full speed to support the Allied forces, and copper was in incredibly high demand for ammunition and military equipment. During the war years of 1943, the U.S. Mint actually stopped producing copper pennies altogether and made them out of steel coated with zinc. But by 1944, things changed. The Mint decided to return to copper coins, using recycled brass shell casings from the battlefields. So, if you find a 1944 Lincoln penny, you're actually holding metal that may once have been used in the war effort. A poetic reminder of America's resilience. The 1944's penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint, identified by the small letter S just below the date on the front of the coin. The total mintage for this issue was approximately 282,760,000 coins, a large number by itself. But as with many coins, the real story lies in the details. While most 1944's pennies are common, certain examples, particularly those with strong strikes, perfect mint luster, or unusual die errors, have sold for astonishing prices at major coin auctions. In circulated fine condition, the coin usually trades for a few dollars, but when you move into higher grades or rare error types, things change dramatically. A few pristine examples graded by PCGS and NGC have been sold for more than $400,000 in top condition because of their minting irregularities or striking features that make them unique. Collectors are fascinated by the 1944's penny not only for its design and wartime background, but also for its variations and possible errors. One of the most famous types is the 1944's steel planchet. Error. An extremely rare mistake where a few leftover steel blanks from 1943 were accidentally struck with the 1944 dies. Those rare steel 1944's pennies are among the most valuable coins in American numismatics, fetching over $400,000 in auctions. Even standard copper examples with off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or doubled dies are highly collectible, commanding hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition and certification. Another point of fascination for collectors is the color and toning of these old coins. Over the decades, natural oxidation has caused some 1944's pennies to develop rich brown, red-brown, or even chocolate-black patinas that make them look strikingly unique. Many collectors prefer these naturally toned coins because they tell a visual story of age and authenticity. In circulated fine condition, the details of Lincoln's hair and coat are typically worn, but still visible, and the wheat ears on the reverse are partially faded yet distinct. This level of wear adds character without destroying the coin's historical charm. Now, when it comes to value in today's auction market, condition and rarity play the biggest roles. While most 1944's pennies in circulated fine condition sell between $0.50 and $2, coins that are uncirculated, bright red, or struck with an error have sold for truly eye-watering prices. One near-perfect red specimen, graded MS67RD by PCGS, fetched over $400,000 at auction due to its immaculate strike, full luster, and flawless surfaces. Such values are not just based on the metal content. They're driven by collector demand, population rarity, and the coin's story. Every collector dreams of finding one of these in an old jar or inherited collection. So why does the 1944's hold such appeal to collectors? It's partly the nostalgia of wartime America, partly the craftsmanship of Brenner's design, and largely the excitement of discovering a small coin that could be worth a fortune. Even in circulated fine condition, a strong, well-preserved 1944 penny can attract interest from collectors worldwide, especially if it shows unusual coloration or die characteristics. Remember, the San Francisco Mint was known for producing cleaner and sharper strikes compared to other facilities, and that quality often translates to higher desirability among coin enthusiasts. What's remarkable is that this coin still appears in circulation from time to time. Many people have found old wheat pennies in jars, drawers, or change piles without realizing they're holding something that could be worth far more than face value. The key is condition, mint mark, and the possibility of an error. Even a coin with minor flaws, scratches, or discoloration can surprise you if it's one of the rare varieties. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC can authenticate and grade these coins, dramatically increasing their market value. To sum it up, the 1944 wheat penny is far more than just a small copper coin. It's a link to America's wartime past, a reflection of artistic design, and a tangible reminder that even the simplest things can hold great worth. Whether you find one in fine condition or stumble across an error example, always remember, each 1944 Lincoln wheat cent tells a story of endurance, craftsmanship, and the enduring value of numismatic history. In today's market, top examples have already reached over $400,000 in auction value, and as time goes on, rare coins like these only become more desirable and scarce. So, check your penny jar, because one day, your old 1944 wheat cent might just make you a fortune.